Working in a BIM environment can bring many benefits to both clients and their project teams, and as you've probably started to realise, those benefits can extend to cost managers too. In this video, we're going to talk about 5D BIM, explaining what it is and how it can help you. To give you a quick refresh, BIM is the process of creating information models or data sets formed of graphical and non-graphical information in a shared digital space known as a common data environment. The information builds in richness as the project stages progress until that complete data set is handed over to the client at completion. As you create an information model, you can add scheduling data to different components, generating accurate program data for your project. This is known as 4D BIM. The next step is to produce accurate cost estimates from the components of the information model, and it's this process that is known as 5D BIM. Those estimates can consider the capital cost of purchasing and installing a component, the running costs associated with it once in use, and the anticipated price of renewing it in the future, all based on the data and information associated and linked to that particular component. With the graphical model and its attribute data developed, cost managers can very quickly determine the quantity of a particular component, applying rates to those quantities to reach an overall cost for that package. Those package costs are then combined to build an overall picture of a project's cost. Counting can be done automatically, saving time and patience. You can see what you're costing clearly in 3D form, and you can be automatically notified when changes are made in the information model. It's relevant to those purely involved in the delivery phase too. With solid 4D program data and a robust contract sum, you can track predicted and actual spend over the course of your project, which is really useful for monthly cost reporting and budgeting. One important point to note is that 5D BIM refers to a particular way of linking data to an information model, an additional dimension, if you like, of data. It's quite different to the BIM maturity levels that run from 0 to 3 and beyond, describing the supply chain's ability to exchange information in a digital way. 4D, 5D and even 6D considerations can all occur within BIM level 2. If you're working with 5D BIM, it would be wrong to say that you're working at BIM level 5. As you can probably tell, the quality of your cost estimate is directly linked to the quality of the data produced by the rest of your project team. If that's wrong or inconsistent, errors can be carried forward into costing. That's no different to the traditional approach of delivering buildings. And that's a perfect point to dispel a rather scary myth. In our long-established industry, a lot of time and effort goes into producing accurate cost estimates by some excellent people. And it's only natural that those people are going to question their futures when they hear about this 5D BIM concept for the first time. But they really don't need to worry, because cost managers, whether they're estimators or QSs, are essential for validation, because not everything in a building information model is going to be right. For starters, not everything is always modelled in 3D, and there can be a lot of 2D information used. Some elements aren't even modelled at all. You're just supposed to know that they're there. Added to that is the fact that different models may classify things differently. Floor areas, for example, might be in gross internal floor area or gross internal area format, and they may or may not include voids. This all needs clarifying by the cost manager. Earlier, we described a very simple form of quantity counting or takeoff, but essentially there are three types of quantity in a building information model. There are quantities based on actual model components that you can see the size and details of in the model. The 5D technique is great for getting cost of these elements. Then we have quantities derived from model components, such as architraves around doorways, for example, that you can't always see. And then there's non-modelled quantities, things like temporary works, construction joints in slabs, shoring, etc. Unless the construction phase itself is fully modelled, the designer's graphical model will indicate design quantities, not construction quantities. Types B and C can only be picked up by an experienced cost manager. Currently, cost managers might produce an indicative cost plan at the outset of a project, and then update it once or twice as a project develops. They only cost completed designs at the end of a long iterative chain when their project team have finished designing. In a BIM process, cost managers are engaged right from the outset and are an equal player in the project team. Their time is freed up from painstaking manual takeoffs in the later stages and used in faster, more accurate cost reporting up front at a much more influential stage. They effectively maintain a living cost plan and become invaluable in helping their teams design to budget. So for cost managers, 5D BIM represents less work for you, but please don't panic and think less work is going to translate into downsizing. It's less work but done more often, or net, it's the same amount of work, and your contribution is going to be more highly valued by your colleagues and project team peers. And here's the really key thing. Cost managers, whether they're estimators or QSs, are actually going to become more valuable as a result of the 5D BIM process. So, I mean, like, don't tell anyone about it, but I think you're probably due a pay rise as a result of getting involved in 5D BIM. Really sorry I've said that on YouTube for any employers out there, but it's about time.